Nation.
Hello and welcome to another edition of AFO Proving Grounds. My name is Peter Zimbor, joined alongside AFO President Pete DiLorenzo, and over the course of the next half hour, we'll be bringing you 4 action-packed AFO fights. We'll start off with 2 MMA debuting fighters, Jimmy Tomlinson and Phil Sargente. Pete, outside of being the president of the AFO, a former fighter yourself, walk us through the emotions of going through your MMA debut and walking up those steps into the cage for the first time.
These guys got a lot of nerves in them right now, Pete, but they both have them. These nerves will give them a better fight once they're in that cage. Both these guys have great futures in this great sport. Let's get right to it, see what they got.
Well, at least they can take solace in the fact knowing the same nervous energy is across the cage from them. It's Jimmy Tomlinson versus Phil Sargente kicking off AFO Proving Grounds.
To my right, weighing at 126 pounds, he's making his amateur debut here this evening, representing U.S. MMA. Representing Team Dexter Valentino, please welcome Jimmy Tomlinson.
So it's time for our first fight of the evening. Flyweights, Phil Sargente taking on Jimmy Tomlinson. Sargente wearing the black shorts, Tomlinson in the white shorts. That's how we'll differentiate the two fighters. Tomlinson coming to us from Team Dexter. He has the reigning AFO heavyweight champion Mike Dexter in his corner. Phil Sargente coming to us from US MMA. And right off the bat, we go to the ground. It appears that Sargente has a guillotine on Tomlinson.
Hey, he started off with a guillotine. He moved nice into side guard. Sargent comes from a great school, so I'm sure he's very prepared for being in any type of situation like that.
Tomlinson still has his head somewhat in the guillotine, pops out, and now is raining some ground and pound onto his opponent. And now it is Sargente who finds himself in trouble. Almost looks like a fish out of water trying to squirm his way out of the predicament. This might not go on too much longer. Tomlinson is in a dominant position. Not much offense, if any, is coming from his opponent. He is taking flush shots to the head, and that is it. A first-round TKO for Jimmy Tomlinson in his MMA debut over Phil Sargente. That was fast and that was wild.
That was an absolute amazing finish, Pete. His ground and pound looked like somebody just stole his milk money.
You know, I didn't even get the chance to get into a conversation I had with his trainer, Mike Dexter, earlier, but he told me Jimmy Tomlinson is the type of fighter, long, rangy, on his feet, he can get it done. But Mike Dexter says he's actually underrated on the ground. Didn't show us any submissions tonight, but it was ground and pound, which ultimately gets the job done. Jimmy Tomlinson with a first-round TKO in his MMA debut over the also debuting Phil Sargente.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time. 43 seconds of round number 1. Representing Broadway stops his contest. You win by TKO victory, Phil Sargente.
And my apologies, Phil Sargente with a first-round TKO in his MMA debut over Jimmy Tomlinson. Phil Sargente with the win in our opening bout tonight.
Well, a very successful MMA debut for Phil Sargente kicking off AFO Proving Grounds. Now, we stick with the 135-pound division, but 2 more experienced fighters. Devin Pilkington taking on Graham Prue. Pete, Graham Prue is a guy that comes to us all the way from England. Devin Pilkington, like Graham Prue, has a very established wrestling background.
Both these kids are very, very talented. They've had a lot of wins within the AFO. Getting these two guys in the cage together is great for all fans. This is something that, as a fan, I'm very interested in seeing.
It was one of those fights where going into the show we thought would be fight of the night. It certainly delivered inside the cage. Devin Pilkington taking on Graham Prue here on AFO Proving Grounds.
What about the two styles of Prue and Pilkington, respectively, that you think are going to mesh up to make an entertaining fight inside the cage?
Well, I think it's going to be very technical. Graham is a very intelligent wrestler, and he's a very intelligent fighter. Devin has a terrific wrestling background, but trains out of a stand-up school. So they both bring a lot of tools to the table, and I mean, this could go either way, and I just can't wait to see which way.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest is scheduled to Proving Ground. This is the featherweight division. Representing Sargent, Fighting out of the blue corner to my right, weighing at 136 pounds. He enters the cage with a record of 3 victories and only 2 defeats. Representing the battle-tested Boneyard, please welcome Graham Prue. And fighting out of the red corner to my right, weighing at 176 pounds and entering the cage with a record of 2 victories and 2 defeats. He's representing the Iron Will Trading Center. Please welcome Devin Pilkington.
Devin Pilkington in the beige trunks, Graham Prue in the white trunks with the black trim. Graham Prue coming into this fight with a record of 3 wins and 2 losses. Pilkington coming into this fight with a record of 2 wins and 2 losses. It's very evenly matched, not only on paper, but we think inside the cage. We're underway, 3 3-minute rounds in our 4th fight of the evening. Both fighters content to keep it standing up thus far. It doesn't look like they're using any of that mat prowess you discussed in the opening, Pete.
Yeah, no, not yet. I mean, they're in a feeling out process right now. I would imagine they'll do this for about half a round before they really start to clinch up. Graham physically looks stronger than Devin, but let me tell you, I've seen Devin's had all his fights in the AFO, and he's one scrappy kid.
Pilkington with a very, very wide guard. His fists are very wide apart. It looks like a straight right hand down the middle could catch him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's trying to pump that jab, that left jab. He's coming straight up the middle. He's doing a really good job. Just missed with an overhand right there. Graham's trying with those leg kicks, I would imagine, to set up eventually for a takedown.
Graham Prue circling to his right. It's Pilkington, who has been in the center of the cage pretty much the entire fight. A front kick he throws towards Prue. Prue still content to circle.
Right now, Devin's definitely the aggressor.
And right now, he's scoring. He's got Pilkington up against the cage. He puts him there. He's got one leg, and he is going to take him to the mat.
In my opinion, this is a mistake by Devin right here. He just hurt him with the stand-up, and I think he could have done a little bit more with the flurry. But he's in full guard right now, and he's coming down pretty good at some ground and pound. He's hanging on to the fence there quite a bit, though.
Referee Freddie Mello right on top of that. Nevertheless, plenty of vicious ground and pound coming from Devin Pilkington. Graham Prue tries to get himself out of the predicament, giving up his back.
Yeah, Devin's trying to sink those legs in to stretch him out. He's working that ground and pound, possibly looking for that rear naked choke. Graham's covering up. He's not taking too much punishment down there. He's just trying to find his whereabouts and what his next move's going to be. And here's Devin starting to go for that choke now. What Graham wants to do is get his back down to the mat so he can maybe switch through, and it looks like he's going to turn into guard. If Graham headhunts here a little bit, he'll end up in his guard. But Devin looks like he's trying to sink in that choke.
Well, a good opening round, nevertheless, for Devin Pilkington. And it looked like he might have had a rear naked choke in for a moment. Looks like he didn't. And Graham Prue almost defenseless underneath as Pilkington is raining down ground and pound to the side of his head. And that is all she wrote. Devin Pilkington with a first-round TKO over Graham Prue. Good performance by Pilkington here tonight, Pete.
Yeah, it was a very good performance. He dominated on the mat. The strength of Graham Prue really didn't come into effect. You know, Graham's complaining of an early stoppage, but what it really comes down to is when you're not defending yourself, there's a point where the referee has to step in. You know, Graham definitely didn't take that much punishment. You could see him now in the cage, and he's fine, and he's standing there, you know, without any issues. But it was a fair stoppage. Freddie Mello, the referee, did a good job there.
Stops this contest. Winner by TKO from strikes, Devin Pilkington.
With a first-round TKO over Graham Prue in a bantamweight fight here at AFO Uncensored. Official time of the TKO, 2 minutes and 33 seconds of the opening round. Fantastic performance by Devin Pilkington.
Devin Pilkington with an easy win over Graham Prue, a dominant performance by him here on AFO Proving Grounds. Now we move up 20 pounds to the AFO lightweight division. Matt Derling taking on Bobby Collins. Matt Derling, a guy who normally fights in the 145-pound featherweight division, but here today competing in the 155-pound lightweight division.
Yeah, but Matt really looks like he should be a 55er. Matt's one of the largest 45ers we've had in the AFO cage. Bobby's a pretty big 55er himself. I don't really see the weight being too much of an issue for strength or size.
We'll see if the weight plays any impact on this fight. It's Derling vs. Collins here on AFO Proving Grounds.
And now, in the very first sanctioned mixed martial arts event to take place in Fall River, the town will see one of its own step into the cage. Bobby Collins, fighting out of Pro Fitness here in Fall River, Massachusetts, takes on Matt Derling, who made the trip from up north here down to Fall River. He comes to us from Keene, New Hampshire. Both combatants are in the ring right now, so without further ado, we'll send it to our cage announcer, John Vina.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next contest is scheduled for 3 preliminary rounds. This is the lightweight division. The referee for this contest is Dan Conway. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner to my right, weighing at 150 pounds and entering the cage with a 1-0 record. Please welcome Matt Derling. And his opponent fighting in the red corner to my left. He weighed in at 156 pounds, and tonight he's entering the cage for the first time. Representing Pro Fitness, please welcome Bobby
Collins, the Fall River boy, as you'd expect, with a lot of fanfare here in the PAL Hall in Fall River, Massachusetts. Collins making his MMA debut tonight. His opponent, Matt Derling from Keene, New Hampshire, enters this fight with a record of 1-0. Derling wearing the black trunks with the white trim. Collins wearing the black trunks with the red-colored dragon design on the left thigh. Here in the early moments of round one, it goes to the ground and Derling is on top. Collins is on the bottom. Neither fighter's able to get off too much thus far in this position. Referee taking a close look at the action as at this point it appears that Derling able to rain a few left hands onto Bobby Collins. Referee for this contest is Dan Conway, making sure that these two fighters are not in a stagnant position where neither can improve their position. That is not the case thus far. Some ground and pound exhibited by Derling. Well, for the majority of round number one, it's been Derling on top, Collins on the bottom. Collins trying to cage walk a little bit, trying to push Derling off him and get to his feet. But so far, we're seeing Derling keep good position now, trying to go for an arm bar. Collins not allowing him to get that arm bar just yet. Now he's got it. Can Derling force Collins to tap? Can he force him to tap? He's not tapping just yet. How bad does he have it in? Does he have the armbar sunk in that tight? And that is it. It is all over. Matt Derling from Keene, New Hampshire improves to 2-0 and defeats Bobby Collins in his MMA debut. He submits Collins with an armbar submission. Well, that was a dominant performance by Matt Derling, but a spirited effort by Bobby Collins. Derling spent pretty much the entire round on top of Bobby Collins. Collins, however, did put forth some effort. He tried to cage walk his way to his feet, and buck Durling off of him. However, in the process of doing so, gave up his arm, and Durling was able to get the arm bar and eventually force Collins to tap.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 28 seconds of round number 1. Referee Dan Conway stops this contest. Your winner by tap out, coming on by submission, Matt Durling.
Durling forces Bobby Collins to tap out at 2 minutes and 28 seconds of the opening round via an armbar. Durling improves his record to 2 wins and 0 losses.
Matt Durling with a quick and impressive submission over Bobby Collins here on AFO Proving Grounds. Now it's time for our 4th and final fight of this episode. Mike De La Reyes taking on Chad Kelly. Pete, what can you tell us about these two fighters?
Both these guys come from great stand-up schools. You would expect that they're going to want to get in there. They're going to want to have a nice stand-up war. You would think you'd see a knockout.
Well, will we? Let's find out. It's our main event of this episode of Proving Grounds, De La Reyes versus Kelly.
Advance your next contest is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds. This in the flyweight division. Referee in charge of the action once again is Dan Conway. Introducing, fighting out of the blue corner to my right, weighing in at 126 pounds and making his amateur debut tonight. He representing Fighting Arts out of Gardner. Please welcome Chad Kelly. And his opponent comes red corner to my left, weighing at 124 pounds. He enters the cage for the 3rd time. Representing Team Dexter Valley-Tudo. Please welcome Michael De La Reyes.
Peter Zimbor cage side once again here in Fall River, Massachusetts. Back to the flyweight division we go. Chad Kelly out of Fighting Arts Gardner taking on Mike De La Reyes out of Team Dexter in this flyweight fight. Kelly entering this fight wearing the black trunks with the American flag on one side of his trunks. De La Reyes wearing the black trunks with white lettering on the front, red lettering in the back. De La Reyes is an alum of the AFO. He's a veteran. He's 0-2. Kelly making his MMA debut tonight. Both fighters content to keep it on their feet thus far. Nice kick to the head by Kelly. It was a high kick. Don't know how much it connected. Flush. He tried a front kick. I think he watched UFC pay-per-view last weekend, getting some tips from Steven Seagal with that one. But it did not connect. So far, we're seeing a kickboxing match. Kelly likes the high kicks. De La Reyes, significantly shorter and with less of a reach in comparison to Kelly. Kelly lands a nice stiff left jab, which catches De La Reyes in his tracks. Someone in the audience yelled, "Take it to the ground." I don't think either of these fighters knows the meaning of taking it to the ground. They are very content to stand up thus far. We have a little bit of a break in the action as both fighters were throwing kicks, and De La Reyes hits Chad Kelly in the groin. This actually might be more beneficial to De La Reyes than Chad Kelly, as De La Reyes did not have momentum in that fight, whereas Chad Kelly did. Our official Dan Conway asks Kelly if he's ready to go. He says yes, and we're on our way once again. Round 1 of a scheduled 3-rounder here in the flyweight division. Another kick by Kelly. This one catches the body of De La Reyes. De La Reyes trying a high kick of his own. The impact of Chad Kelly's kicks, connecting wherever they might on De La Reyes, are winning him this opening frame thus far. Both fighters seem content to trade kicks. De La Reyes tries to change it up a bit, go to the ground, but he's not going to get it on the ground. We see Chad Kelly ultimately hook the leg of De La Reyes and bring him to the ground, and now we have Chad Kelly on top. As good of an opening frame for your MMA debut as you can ask for if you're Chad Kelly up until this point. He's on top, De La Reyes is on the bottom. As the closing seconds of round one tick away, some ground and pound courtesy of Chad Kelly, but Mike De La Reyes is going to survive the round. Excellent opening frame by the MMA debuting Chad Kelly. Taking a look back at that first round, Chad Kelly throwing an exorbitant amount of kicks, landing to the body of Mike De La Reyes. I think most of the high kicks, if not all, De La Reyes was able to deflect somewhat. Nevertheless, Kelly having success in the opening round, and on any respectable scorecard would earn the nod for round one. Round two of the scheduled three-rounder underway. We mentioned Kelly's reach advantage earlier. We're not just talking about the reach with his arms and his fists, but with his legs as well, significantly taller. He gets De La Reyes to the ground. This is how round one came to a conclusion. Early on here in round number two, it's Chad Kelly on top, De La Reyes on the bottom. This could be a very bad predicament for De La Reyes. When he was on the bottom towards the tail end of round number one, there was just seconds remaining, and he was able to survive. Right now, plenty of time left in round two. We just began this round, folks. Kelly on top, and De La Reyes doing his best to defend. And doing a good job of defending thus far, but every now and then Kelly is sneaking in some punches, as he is right now. And Kelly, unable to land shots to the head of De La Reyes for a moment, does the smart thing, throws some devastating shots to the body. And I don't know if this one is going to go on too much longer, because De La Reyes is having a very difficult time trying to defend himself. He's hanging on, to his credit. But once again, another dominant round for Chad Kelly. Kelly out of Gardner Fighting Arts, a team that takes competition seriously. Scout out most of their opponents on video beforehand, if any video at all is available of their opponents going into the fight. And whatever the game plan Kelly had for De La Reyes coming in, certainly working. He's back on top in mount position, and he's going to be able to rain some ground and pound down. De La Reyes, once again, to his credit, is hanging on. Tries to get himself out of the predicament, and nearly does. They nearly get back on their feet. And now it appears Kelly trying to sink in a guillotine. Doesn't have it tight at all, and he's going to let it go. Just seconds remaining in round number two. De La Reyes taking a lot of punishment here in round two, more so than in round one. And Kelly goes for an arm bar, and that is it. Right before the buzzer sounds. Do we have a submission? Right before the buzzer sounds, ending round number two, Chad Kelly connects with an armbar and earns himself a submission over Mike De La Reyes. Chad Kelly came out in round number one, was landing leg kicks left and right to Mike De La Reyes, mostly to the right. And then towards the end of round number one, when De La Reyes attempted to take Kelly down, Kelly was able to hook De La Reyes' leg, take him to the ground, finish off the frame with some vicious ground and pound. And then round number two, well, Kelly spent most of the round on top of Mike De La Reyes, dishing out some ground and pound punishment, but ultimately, it's the first submission. He goes for an armbar attempt. that causes De La Reyes to tap out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time. 2 minutes, 59 seconds of the second round. Referee Dan Conway stops this contest. He won it by tap out of an armbar submission, Chad Kelly.
In 59 seconds of round number 2, Chad Kelly defeats Mike De La Reyes by armbar submission. Had De La Reyes hung on for just one more second, he would have made it to the third round, but what a fantastic performance by Chad Kelly in his MMA debut tonight here in the American Fighting Organization.
Mike De La Reyes unable to hang on for just one additional second in the second round of that fight as he taps out due to an armbar from Chad Kelly. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of AFO Proving Grounds. Remember, for more information on the AFO, visit us online at AFOMMA.com. For everyone here at Proving Grounds AFO President Pete DiLorenzo, I'm your host, Peter Zimbor. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
American Fighting Organization.